10 and verse 22. It's the exact same place. Okay, because they brought gold. Okay, he brought gold, as you read, right from this land that took 3 years to get to. Okay, they brought gold from there, and they did the exact same thing that we're reading from in 1 Kings chapter, chapter 11. And it's the exact same place. Okay, Ophir is in America. All right. All right, we're gonna pull out, some information. Slakia. I'm doing my best here, but we're gonna pull out a couple pieces of information. Tying this all together. Because as we said before, those Tyrians, those Canaanites, okay, that were at the northern tip, all right, were like really far north of Israel, and I believe we actually owned that land as well. I'm certain we did at one point. That land, all right, those Canaanites, they came down. Solomon sent them from there and sent them all the way down to Arsareth, aka America, okay, which we already went into the Jewish Encyclopedia how Christopher Columbus identified this place Arsareth with America. All right, so we're gonna get I'm gonna get a book account. All right, and the brother, the water to that brother who linked me this book, took the pictures for me. The brother knows who he is. We don't have to, we don't always gotta name drop brothers, All right, so this is, they came before Columbus. African Egypt presences in ancient America, page 147. All right, let's see here. Yeah. All right, so I'm actually going to start from here. This is page 147. Flesh noses that acutely observe and faithfully reproduce facial contour and particulars bore eloquent witness to a Negro African presence. They're talking about those Hamites. All right, not the Negroes. Even the, I believe it is the Compact Bible Dictionary even says that the Negroes, when they talk about Hamites, they're talking about ancient Africans, not the Negroes. They know that the Negroes are the Judites, all right, or the Southern Kingdom. All right. One of the Negro colossi, 8.5 feet high and 22 feet in circumference, were earplugs with a cross carved in each, which I believe that's going into, I know that's going into the Olmec heads. That's what it's talking about, this excerpt. It's talking about those Olmec heads that you find all across Southern America, all across South America in the Olmec lands. All right, I believe they were made out of basalt. They call them the basalt heads, which is kind of like a volcanic mineral, and they would make big sculpture of heads out of them. One of the Negro colossi, 8.5 feet high and 22 feet in circumference, wore earplugs with a cross carved in each. They all wore headdresses that were foreign and distinctive, domed helmets like those of ancient soldiers. All right, and this is another time they don't really notice, they don't really note this, but when you go back into pictures of these various Hamitic kings, they all kind of wear these dome-like helmets. The ancient Egyptian kings, well, ancient Matazarium kings. Damn bugs! I think one of them bit me. Fuck. When you go look into the ancient Mazarium kings, they have those kind of dome-like helmets. I don't know, show a picture. That's what that's going into. This one and the same exact people. All right. They came down here to bring materials for Solomon. All right. After the Northern Kingdom came and settled there, they settled there too for a certain amount of time. And I believe at one point the Olmec people, they just left. All right, which we're gonna go back into. They all wore headdresses that were foreign and distinctive, domed helmets like those of ancient soldiers. They all faced east, staring into the Atlantic. All right, so all these domed heads, all these basalt heads, faced east. Now, why would the Olmec heads be facing east? All right, because those Olmecs, those ancient Canaanites, those Hamites, the heads faced toward their homeland, where they came from. All right, they came from Tyre. All right, because they were on assignment by King Solomon to bring gold and other precious materials to him. All right. Skipping down, still on the same page. All right. At the place where the Negroid features in association with the Caucasoid figure with the beard were found, there is no Caucasoid figure. They completely botched that. Don't worry about that. The La Venta ceremonial court, 9 samples of wood charcoal were taken. 5 of these samples related to the original construction of the court. They gave an average reading of 814. Levent is in New Mexico, by the way. Is in Mexico. Slack you for not saying that. Alright. 5 of these samples related to the original construction of the court. They gave an average reading of 814 BC plus or minus 134 years. Okay, so plus or minus 134 plus 14 is around 950, 948. Now there's something particularly interesting about that time. All right, we're gonna go get it. Hold on, Akim. I want to get the exact one where I found it, where I found the division of the Northern and Southern Kingdom. Northern Kingdom 193 to 195. Okay. Please, have patience with me while I find this. Let's see here. I don't know why they don't give me the time periods. All right, whatever. They're not exactly giving me what I want here. So we're just gonna look it up. I really was hoping they would give me the exact time period that I was looking for, but they did not. It is what it is. It's not gonna stop anything. All right, so let's see here. Solomon. Birth and death. Alright, so let's see here. King Solomon rulership. Maybe that will rulership. Alright, so King Solomon, how time. Okay, let's see here. Rulership time. Alright, well they say they're just fucking playing retarded with me now, like yeah, so the conventional dates of Solomon reigns are about 970 to 931 BC. Alright, we're gonna read that thing again, what it said. Alright, so 5 of these samples related to the original construction of the court. The original construction of the court. They gave an average reading of 814 BC or minus 134 years. No. Yeah, they gave an average reading of 814 BC plus or minus 134 years, which would put it exactly in the same time as King Solomon's reign. They say conventional readings, conventional dates are around 970 to 941 BC is around this time period, which lines up absolutely perfectly. All right, and that's actually for completionist sake. Let's do 814 plus 134 is 948 BC. So that's exactly within the time frame of King Solomon's rulership. All right, these Hamites, while they were down here, they were also building their own shit at the same time where they were getting materials. That makes perfect sense. Even though they weren't settling, they were visiting. Okay. All right. Moving on. In other words, the living human figures upon which these heads were modeled could not have appeared at Leventa later than 680 BC. Alright, so couldn't appear later than, so they couldn't be after 680 BC because it'd have to come before the model of the heads, It could have entered the Gulf of Mexico anytime between the average 800 BC date and the 600 BC date. Yeah, no, it's not that. They're off and I spit off the bones. They came there in the time of King Solomon. They would have no reason to go out there unless King Solomon told them to. All right. A period which roughly spans the 25th dynasty Egypt, carbon datings cannot be contested. All right, but once again, they know that the time periods are, kind of loose here. All right, so they say the 25th dynasty of Egypt, which, once you go back into it, I don't really know much about the Egypt. I'm going to skip that. I'll maybe do a video on that later on. But we know that they came down there in the time of King Solomon. Pretty much what they're saying is that they could not, the model for those heads could not have been, at the same time. It had to have been earlier than 940. It'd have to have been a time earlier before they came down there and started building the court, or it could have been, they really don't know, they really don't know. And it's really even a mystery to us right now, This is the book of Psalms, the 131, verse 1. A song of degrees of David. Lord, my heart is not haughty, nor my eyes lofty. Neither do I exercise myself in great matters or in things too high for me. All right, so they claim, 25th dynasty of Egypt. That could be true. It could not be true. Okay, I have to look more into that. All right, but, the suffice to say, plus 6, what they say, 814 BC plus or minus 134 years. That's what they got from their carbon dating. Okay, even the science tells them the truth. Okay, and that lines up perfectly with the rule of King Solomon. All right, as you brought out. We're going to read it again, and we're going to get even more sources. It's the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 13, verse 45. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, in the same region is called Arsareth. And we connected that back to 1 Kings chapter 10, verse 22, okay, about how, King Hiram, 1 Kings chapter 10 to 22, and 1 Kings chapter 10 and 11 or 12, okay, about how King Hiram traveled around 3 years to a faraway place, okay, to bring items for King Solomon, okay. That same place where they got gold, they also called it Ophir, but it's also called Arsareth. Okay? We're going to prove that as well. Alright? We're going to bring up some data, as I always make a point to do. I'm not just a parrot in this thing. I don't want to be just a parrot. I try to find pieces of information that other brothers don't bring out, that other brothers don't know about. Or maybe they know about or haven't brought out in a long time. I'm not going to, just because the elders and apostles broke it down like this, now I'm just going to copy and paste his sources and do it again. No, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to get my own sources. All right? This is how we increase knowledge, So, yep. We're actually going to go back to 1 Kings chapter 10, verse 22 again after we read this article. This is watchjerusalem.co. Go back down a little bit more. Hold on, Akim. There's something that I'm looking for. I'm going to use the find in page. Peacocks. Is this the article that I was looking for? Hold on, Akim. Just give me a second. I'm gonna see if I can find it. Parents. Nope, this isn't the one. All right. Well, I'm gonna ignore that one. I'm gonna start with the other search I got first, and we'll come back into it. Okay. So this is College of Humanities, and I believe this is from BYU, which is Binghamton Young University. All right, at the College of Humanities, the Colonial Literature and the Mystery of Ophir. All right, when you skip down, I'm just going to go straight to the point. Yep, in the Bible, the land called Ophir was established is in an undisclosed location. Solomon and David would send sailors to Ophir to collect gold, silver, and jewels. Gordon explained that Montesinos was a Dominican friar. And I believe the Dominicans were actually an order of priests going back into, actually in our time period during the Dark Ages. But I got to go back into that, around 14. It could have been in the Renaissance. I'm not exactly sure, but the Dominicans were a more European thing. Dominicans the ancient inhabitants, the original inhabitants of that land, the quote-unquote red Haitian Indians, okay, which they call Dominicans now, were not originally called Dominicans. All right, Esau, Edom called them that. All right, originally they had a different name. Before that, I believe they are Taino. All right, moving back into it. And they're actually Taino, but they really are Simeon. All right, of course, we know that. And we can tie that back to scriptures. You know, Levi and Simeon, you know, instruments of cruelty are in their hands. You know, they were brethren, but they fight. You know, the Dominicans and the Haitians, they hate each other. And you know, I don't want to get too far into that. You know, another lesson. In the Bible, the land called Ophir was established in an undisclosed location. Solomon and David would send sailors to Ophir to let gold, silver, and jewels. Gordon explained that Montesino's argument in Ophir de Hispana is that Peru and Ophir are one and the same. Alright? He said it. Montesinos was once again, a Dominican friar. He said this. Okay? Is that Ophir de Hispania is that Peru and Ophir are one and the same. And that the kings of Spain, like King David and Solomon before them, had the blessing of the Most High to find Ophir and partake of its bounty. So pretty much he's claiming that those original conquistadors used this kind of reasoning that, you know, because King David and Solomon went to that land before them, that they had the blessings to go into that land, which is actually not true at all. They have nothing to do with those people when you go into it. Those conquistadors, they took our identity. King David and Solomon has nothing to do with the conquistadors, has nothing to do with the Spanish. Alright, because those Spaniards are Edomites, okay, and they were roughly in slavery. They were in chains for around a period of 1,000 years. Alright, they have nothing to do with the scriptures. They have nothing to do with King David and Solomon. They were King David and Solomon's servants at one point. Alright, but you know, once again, that's an ancient argument from the Renaissance. You know, from the Renaissance period, this guy Montesinos in this argument, he's saying that Ophir and Peru are one and the same, which they very well could be, because when we go into it again in 1 Kings, this is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 10, verse 22. For the king had at sea a navy of Tarshish with a navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish bringing gold and silver, ivory and apes and peacocks. All right. So once again, this land is going back also to Ophir. They didn't just go to Arsareth. Ophir is in Arsareth. Okay, Ophir could very well be Peru according to this account right here. It's very possible. Okay, we're gonna read it one more time. I know we have a habit of repeating things. Okay, this is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 10, verse 22. For the king had at sea a navy of Tarshish, the navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish bringing gold and silver, ivory and apes. I'm actually going to see what that word apes mean. I believe apes is going into orangutans, monkeys. You know, there's plenty of monkeys in South America. Alright? Plenty. Verse 10. Damn, mosquitoes, man. Get the hell off me, man. Silver and apes. Apes. Monkey. You know, monkeys, and you got plenty of monkeys down in South America, you know. And when we go into that word, you know, apes and peacocks, that word there is, I'm not going to try to break that down, but peacock, they also say it could mean baboon or ape, you know, a baboon, you know, probably a peacock, some imported creature, you know. They would bring these peacocks and these various animals back to King Solomon, you know. Yep. I'll read it again. Verse 22. For the king had at sea a navy of Tarshish with the navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish bringing gold and silver, ivory and apes and peacocks. They brought monkeys and they also brought peacocks. And I actually found an article that goes into it that word for peacock actually goes to parrots. You know, which parrots are native to the southern hemisphere, going to Southern America. You know, there's further proof. I want to see if I can find that article that goes into it. Slakyakim. If I can't find it, I can't find it. I'm not going to, you know, kill myself looking for it if I can't find it. Let's see here. Let's see. Keep going down a little bit more.